Welcome, Negronis with Nord, episode number 75. We have Aaron in the office with us right now. Kelsey, who is usually behind the camera, is doing something with farm animals. I honestly, I have no idea what she's doing, but she grew up on some sort of farm, and there are things happening on this farm this week that she feels she wants to participate in some way. Maybe baby calves are being born. I'm not sure. All that to say, I'm getting to hang out with my buddy Aaron today. I'm like 3 weeks, coming up on a month of being married. You know, we probably get busy a few months before y'all get busy. We came back from summer and it has just been full gas. Brands are waking up from their long slumber. It has been very busy in here recently. Personally, it's just like, it's such an exciting, fun time of the year. We get to reconnect with a lot of our clients who we've been working with over the year and talk about what their plans are for next year. When this goes live, it'll be this week that SEPHORiA is happening. We've got the squad in town. We've got a bunch of alumni in town. We've got the whole SEPHORiA team in town. So there's a lot of exciting things happening. I am participating in, not in SEPHORiA main stage, but we were actually turning the front of our office into a little lounge for SEPHORiA Squad members. The SEPHORiA is taking place like 2 blocks from our office. We're doing some programming here as well, cocktails, a couple of talks. So it's gonna be like an amazing, exciting week, and the team is absolutely crushing it. It's really fun running a business when, you know, you get to the size where there are things constantly happening that you had no part in whatsoever. I thought I wrote down "God is dead" as a note, but that is not what I wrote down. We need to keep getting your questions. Those help structure like what we should be talking about. So if you haven't asked a question before and you just listen to or watch or wherever you're consuming this show, tell me what you're thinking about, ask a question. Again, I can just make shit up and like go for it every week. We're gonna talk a little bit about TikTok, but I wanna talk about something that I have personally been thinking a lot about. I don't know if this is helpful at all, but I'm gonna say what I told to the team. I said, you know, one of my jobs as a leader is to create an environment where they can do their best work, right? And there were 3 things that I felt that I wasn't doing, and by extension the organization wasn't doing, and that were making it harder for people to operate at their absolute highest level. The first was providing more direction. You know, that I felt that as an organization I wasn't doing a good enough job setting the vision of where we were all running to, and it was creating a situation where it felt like a lot of people were pulling in different directions because they didn't know exactly where they were going. 2 was that I felt we needed to be more intentional in our decision making around what projects we said yes to and which ones we said no to. And that when you enter a scarcity mindset and you start to want to say yes to every opportunity, every project, because you're afraid it could be the last, because work has slowed down, whatever it might be, and you start saying yes to a lot of different things and you start to kind of lose a sense of what you're really doing other than trying to kind of hit an arbitrary numerical goal or something, right? And the third was celebrate the kind of output of our work, right? That we were going to talk more about the content that we were working on with influencers. We were going to celebrate not just the work we did to help make that post happen, which is a huge amount of what we're doing, but actually celebrate those end results, right? And celebrate the work. You know, I think it's a simple but probably effective framework for you as well, right? You need to know where you're going. You need to have a sense of like what your actual goal is. Where are you pointing to? Those projects are getting you closer to that goal. You need to be really honest with yourself about what work you do is great and what work you do is not great. It's important to define what is greatness, right? And I was reading this book by an architect from the 1970s. This is starting to get quite esoteric, and I haven't even mentioned Dostoevsky yet. How can we determine what makes a good building versus what makes a bad building? He says that like to answer that question, we must know a quality that cannot be named. We know by interacting with something what is good and what is bad, but that you can't actually put words to it. We get it, right? I saw Rick Rubin talking about this, where he said, ultimately, as a creative, you cannot sacrifice your own taste. That like, you cannot create something that you think, I don't like this, but I think someone else will. You will not achieve what you want in your life if you're not fucking psyching yourself up, Like, I was talking to, our VP of client service that runs the campaign side of the business, and I was like, if the posts that the influencers do for our clients, if the team is like, I fucking love this, this is sick, I think this is so cool, like, that's enough. If we can please ourselves and we believe in our taste, that like that is the path to achieving what you want. And I think that like, as you get into this place of like chasing, the algorithm and followers, and you're trying to build this business in public, and it's, the failures are very public, and there's other people who are doing so well, and you're, whatever. It's all of these things. I think there is this potential. You start to question your taste. You start to question what you are doing. You start creating things because you think they might go viral, or you think it will work, or you think that's what the brand wants, right? And you don't like it, and it doesn't get you, it's not exciting, and it's not fun. If you don't remember that in a lot of ways, it's like an audience of one, and if you're excited about it, there's gotta be other people who are gonna be excited about it. I was at Madison Square Garden a couple nights ago for the Postal Service Death Cab show. When those albums came out in 2003, I was a sophomore in college, and these albums were massively impactful for me. I was a DJ at our college radio station, and I remember like playing Postal Service, and they were never like a big band. They got popular. It was really interesting because they basically have never played a show before. So they're playing this album for the first time in 20 years, and people are weeping, and it's filling Madison Square Garden. I couldn't help but like feel really inspired and understand that like creative output, sometimes like it does take a while. Creating something that you are excited about is like the surest path to getting what you want. Switching over to talking about TikTok, for the last 6 weeks, 2 months maybe, I've been like f***ing around with TikTok a little bit. And don't worry, I have like a Gen Zer helping me. It's impossible to truly understand a platform unless you actively are creating on it, engaging on it, and ultimately like you have to build a following. You have to figure out how to connect with the community to truly understand it. And so as a big part of my job, telling people what to do on these platforms, I felt, while I theoretically understand this platform pretty well, I need to like have real experience. And so we've been putting content up for a couple months, and it's like, it's done terribly. It sucks. Like, it's horrible, It's really done quite poorly. And I was talking to my Gen Zer who's helping me, and I was like, yeah, like, I'm not excited about this. I'm just doing what I do. Like, basically, we took Negroni's episodes and cut them up, and then sometimes she would come in and we would film stuff behind the desk of me, like, giving advice to influencers, but, like, it's not right for the platform. It's not exciting. It's not entertaining. It's not new. And, like, ultimately, it's just noise. And, like, of course it didn't work. Let's pivot on this. Let's, like, start from scratch. And like, what would be kind of fun would be if I kind of play this character of like a 39-year-old CEO, straight white man trying to figure out TikTok. So anyway, you can follow along on my TikTok if you want. I've never talked about it like on my Instagram or here because one, I've been a little embarrassed by it because I feel like, well, maybe I should try and build a little following. But two, yeah, I felt like I was dialing it in. So
in terms of the TikTok new angle, have you really been enjoying that new direction, sort of being like leaning into it?
So we're just starting. I did a video being like, hey, obviously this has not worked. So we're gonna try something different, I was thinking back about when I was learning photography. I used to look at photos and be like, okay, I'm gonna try and copy that. By copying that photo, sometimes almost exactly, I learned these new techniques, these new skills, these new ways of like seeing the world, of perspective, of editing. Then it, you know, it helped me develop my own style. And so by doing that, I will like build up a little bit of a muscle, I'll build up a style. This is something we talked to Lindsay about, you know, from SEPHORiA Squad, and she said, yeah, this is what I did. I got on TikTok and I was just copying what I was seeing, and she did that for 18 months, and she had some stuff that went viral and things like that, and then she found her voice. What I am realizing, what I you know, wasn't honest with myself about, was that it's unlikely that you'll like start on a new platform and be like, boom, this is my point of view, this is my style, you know? Because I've had success on social platforms before, because I have, you know, a certain status in the industry. I've got this company that I felt like I should come to TikTok and just like know what I'm doing. Understanding from a technical standpoint how these platforms work, what is and isn't working, and finding your voice as a content creator are two like really different things, which is why I say like you can watch all the fucking videos like this in the world and read all the think pieces, and like it's not gonna help you at all. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna help you at all. I hope it helps you. It's that 5%, 10%, right? The hard work, the 90%, is like just doing it. I'm gonna hat tip and say who I'm copying. I'm not gonna like, it's not like I'm ripping memes off. I'm taking like structures for these videos, right? Like I just wanna be clear. I'm not gonna like Elon people on their memes. We'll keep talking about my journey to try and figure out TikTok and get to like, let's say 10K in a year on the show, what's working, what's not, and we'll do it together. I probably won't see you next week because I maybe have the busiest week of my life next week, and I won't be doing this. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. I don't know that I had a radio voice. Funny thing from the radio show was that inmates from the prison used to call in sometimes, and you would get a collect call, and they'd be like, you have a collect call from, and it would be like, play Tupac. And so that's the way that inmates would request music, is they would call the radio station collect and say their name was their request, which you obviously wouldn't accept it, but then I'd be like, all right, this is going out to, you know, my friends in the Carlisle, you know, town jail or wherever they were calling from. So yeah.